So, episode 2 of Dark Matter, give us some more answers? Yes, but also get some more questions. Let's talk about Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 2. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm here to talk to you about Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 2, Trip of a Lifetime, which is coming to Apple TV Plus on May 8th, 2024. It is the second episode coming to Apple TV Plus on May 8th. They're doing both Episode 1 and 2 released that day, and then after it'll be an episode a week, just like Apple TV Plus normally does. So, is this one worth watching? Is this episode worth watching? Should you just binge 1 and 2 on the same day? I mean, absolutely. I thought this episode was fantastic. I definitely think you should watch it. It is another strong episode. It's a little slower than the first one, but it also has some more answers and a big ending that will make you want to then go see episode 3. So, I definitely think you should watch it. I definitely think you should watch this series. It's a good series so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. But all that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the episode, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really, really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap section, especially about that ending. If you don't want to know what happens in this episode, and you probably don't, then I would turn off when I get to the recap. But before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll let you know when I get to the spoilers. So, Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 2 continues where the first episode left off. Remember, in the first episode, you had Jason, essentially two Jasons, the quantum Jason, I guess. He's a superposition of having both a successful science Jason and a family man Jason. That's how I'm going to refer to them, Family Jason and Science Jason. Family Jason is now in Science Jason's world, where there's a successful company. He is a well-respected scientist, but he doesn't have his family. Science Jason is in Family Jason's world, where he has the family, but doesn't have, the success. What could possibly go wrong in this mixing of worlds? Well, you'll have to watch the episode to find out. So, all that being said, things I liked about this episode. The first, again, I still love the cast. It's a small cast, but it is a really, really good cast. I love seeing them all, and especially love seeing them now because you have kind of a multiverse world. So you get to see the characters in two different settings, and they are very different characters. They have had very different lives in both of these worlds, and it's fun to see those differences as well. Kind of related to that, the second thing I love the two stories. I love the way that this one really mixes the two worlds and the two kind of storylines together. You get to see some of the similarities of their lives. You also get to find out, like differences that happen, and you get to see how each of these Jasons lived, and also this how the cast of characters lived. And it's told in kind of like an alternating way. You'll get something from Family Jason's world, and you'll get something from Science Jason's world, and then back and forth throughout. So you really kind of consistently get some new information. And the last thing I love, the ending. It is a big, big ending. Definitely something that is going to make you want to quickly see episode 3, but you're not gonna be able to see that until next week. But wow, did it make me want to jump ahead and watch the next episode? I'll hold off. I'll wait until next week just so I can review it fresh. But it is a good ending. So, all that being said, things I didn't love about this episode. I mean, I guess it's a little bit slower. It's not bad though. I mean, this is going to be a slow series. It's not like a high action series. This episode's a little slower than the last one, I think, partly because you're getting two different storylines and they're kind of establishing a lot. I expect it to get better. I expect it to get more exciting. And it's just a minor criticism, but it's a little bit slower. And this episode is longer than the first one. The first one was 45 minutes. This one is 53 minutes. So a slower episode, a little bit longer. Drags a little bit. Again, not a big deal. I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed this series. So that is Dark Matter, Season 1, Episode 2, Trip of a Lifetime, coming to Apple TV Plus on May 8th, 2024. And I'm going to go into a recap right now. So if you don't want to know what happens in this episode, and you probably don't, especially if you want to be surprised by that ending, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So, like I said, you got Science Jason and Family Jason. Science Jason is in Family Jason's world. Family Jason is in Science Jason's world. What could go wrong? A lot, actually. So Family Jason is confused. He's wondering like why he remembers his family, what is going on. And so he goes to the ER to kind of try to figure out what's happening. He gets a full check. Everything is fine. We do get some background on what happened to Science Jason in this world. In Science Jason's world, he got a bachelor from the University of Chicago. He got a PhD from the University of Chicago. He got the Pavia Award, that prestigious award in 2010. And then he hasn't been seen publicly for over a year. I think it was 14 months. He's just disappeared and no one knew where he was. So the idea is that Science Jason went into whatever device he made to kind of be able to go across the multiverse or to like go into other quantum worlds. And that is why he disappeared. He just got back. But Science Jason didn't come back. Family Jason came back. He was pulled back in to this world. So Family Jason wants to find out what happened here. He wants to see his, wife in his world, not in this world. So he searches for Daniella, and Daniella, he searched for Daniella Dessen, doesn't come up. But he searched for Daniela Vargas, her maiden name, something comes up. She has a show in Chicago, so he decides to go to this. Now, during this time, the company that he works for is looking for him. They are worried that this Jason is going to like spill secrets. This Jason's going to like tell about this secret project, this project they're working on called Velocity. And so they are trying desperately to hunt him down. And there's like kind of two camps. There's Amanda, who is like genuinely cares for him and like worried about him. And then there seems to be the like CEO and this like, I don't know, security officer who are like really worried he's going to spill secrets, really worried he's going to like talk about the project. They want to stop him. Amanda seems to want to like make him better. So both of them are tracking down Family Jason in Science Jason's world. So Family Jason goes to Daniella's performance, and it is a kind of quantum-like exhibit. It's about choices. You get there, and there's like three cards you can choose. You go into it, and you see, different choices, different aspects of the world. And when Family Jason gets there, we find out that Jason inspired Daniella's entire show. That's why it's about this like quantum universe. That's why it's about choices. Basically, Jason told her about his theories about how like you basically every choice creates a new world. There's the choice that you made and then the choice that you didn't make. Each of those spawns off different worlds, and so you essentially have an infinite number of worlds based on the various choices that you have made throughout your life. And so this got Daniella thinking, and she created this like art piece about choice and about all that stuff. But we also find out in this world, where Jason won the Pavia, it's kind of a mirror image of what happened in the other world. Remember in Family Jason's world, Ryan is the big scientist. He won the Pavia, and Jason did some work for him. Ryan is super appreciative. He tells him that like his notes were, invaluable in the work that he did. Well, over on this side, it seems like Science Jason used Ryan to create some compounds for this project called Velocity, but it doesn't seem like he is as appreciative. Ryan is really interested, like, hey, do those compounds work out? Are they okay? Like, I haven't heard anything because he signed all these NDAs and he can't get any information. And Family Jason is just interested in Danielle and trying to get more information, so he kind of blows him off. But it seems like this is not a new thing for Ryan. It seems like maybe Jason is kind of a jerk in this world. So you see the different dynamic here between Jason and Ryan versus in the other world. And during all these scenes, you do kind of go back to Family Jason's world, but there's not a ton that happens there. It's mostly just like him hitting on Daniela, him like being an attentive husband to her. They talk about going on like a trip. So there's not a ton of like important plot information there. So most of this is going to be focused on Science Jason's world and what Family Jason learns. But one of the things that you do see what in, Family Jason's world when Jason is there is that he has some cracks, like he picks the wrong toothbrush and he handles it decently well, but you can see that there's some things that he just doesn't know about, Family Jason's life, just little things that maybe will build, and maybe that will be something that Daniela picks up on later. She doesn't pick it up on it just yet, but maybe that is something that we'll see in the future. And also, Science Jason and Family Jason's world calls Ryan on the way to work and basically gets upset about him. I think he's trying to cut off Ryan because he thinks that Ryan might be able to tell that this is not normal Jason. So he calls him and basically is like, you talked to Daniela about the job. And he's like, oh yeah, I thought you'd be excited. And he's like, you crossed the line. Like, I'm happy with my life in Chicago. I'm not accepting your job. And Ryan is like super, you know, he's super understanding. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to. Like, that's my bad. Like, I didn't mean to do that. But Science Jason is very mean to Ryan, probably the way that he is to Ryan in the other world. So he's just kind of treating him like a doormat. So that that happened. It seems like Science Jason is going to try to cut off Ryan and try to like guard his world, guard his family life, because that's really something that is probably why he came into this world. So back to Science Jason's world with Family Jason. And I know it's really confusing. Maybe I'll come up with a better way later, but in any event, you find out some more about Jason and Daniela's background. It turns out that they used to be a couple, and it seems like Daniela got pregnant. And while Jason's telling like Daniela and Ryan about his world, it's painful for them because says that they have a son. He says that Ryan won this award, and he's like this respected scientist, whereas in this world he is not. It seems like he is more on the Family Jason track than the Science Jason track. So they get a little bit upset. Ryan gets upset. He leaves, and you can tell that maybe there's something more here. But Daniela seems more interested in this. And so when they're talking later, you find out a little bit more. You find out that they used to be together, that they used to have a fling, and that Daniela got pregnant. And in this world, Science Jason, basically told her not to keep it. He wasn't ready. And he went to San Francisco to do work to become this really well-respected scientist. And that is where their worlds diverge. That is where Science Jason went to San Francisco, became a, successful scientist. Family Jason stayed in Chicago, told Daniela to keep it. They raised a family. It's not like he's not a, super respected Pavia award-winning scientist, but he has a happy life in Chicago. Whereas in this world, Science Jason went to San Francisco, became a really successful scientist, but probably regretted that choice. And that led him to then research, this whole quantum theory, this like quantum choice theory to try to see if he could bridge that gap. And that is where like this whole project came from. Family Jason discovers some notes from Science Jason about his project, and basically is a concept that Family Jason's been working on in his world, but he wasn't motivated like Science Jason was. He didn't have the experience. He didn't have the need to do it. So in Science Jason's world, he figured out this project. He figured out how to cross over into like other quantum worlds. And so Family Jason, knowing that he has at least had this idea, recognizes this, sees the research, and is like, oh my God, like he did it. Like he was able to do it. And he's starting to piece together what happened and how he ended up in this place. So when Jason discovers these notes, he figures out, who abducted him. He figures out that Science Jason solved this problem, created this box, was able to go into his world. The person that abducted Jason from his world is him, is Jason. And now he has to figure out how to get back and also why Science Jason would have done this. So we have a conundrum, but you know what? On Family Jason's Plus, he's got Science Jason's notes, and they clearly have the technology to do this. So it seems like he should be able to, go back. We'll see. So after this, Family Jason stays at Daniella's house. And she seems like she's warming up to this idea. She wants him to tell her about their life, and he tells her about their life, about how they're happy, how, they have a family, how they built a life in Chicago. They're very different though. Like he is not a scientist, he's a teacher. She doesn't paint anymore. She's a well-established artist in this world. She doesn't do that. She gave that up because of Charlie, because of how much work it was raising the kid. Both of them kind of made sacrifices to make their family work. And so they are talking, they're getting more comfortable. Daniella asks how the sex is and if they're boring, and it looks like they are about to connect, about to hook up. And that is when there's a knock on the door. And Jason goes to get the door, and then when he's there, someone shoots the lock off, pushes their way in, and it is that like head of security person that you saw earlier with the CEO. And she barges in there. She tells Daniella to drop the phone. Daniella has a phone ready to call 911, I guess. And Jason's like, do it, like drop the phone, listen to her. And before Daniella's able to drop the phone, that henchman, that security person drops Daniella. She shoots her right in the head. Boom. Daniella's gone. And that is the end of this episode. That is how this episode ends. The love of Family Jason's life finally reconnected in this other world. Looks like maybe they were starting to form a connection. She's now dead. That's the episode. That is season 1, episode 2. So what does that mean? Well, I assume this is going to motivate Family Jason to try to fix that box, either to get back to his world where he can be with his wife again and confront himself, or to try to find the other world where that didn't happen, to try to move into that world or figure out how to save Daniella, maybe try to go back in time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is going to go, but I'm sure at some point, Family Jason is going to work on that project to try to figure that out, to solve that problem. And you also get something else interesting in this episode. One of the things that Science Jason said to Daniella in episode 1, when like right after he'd gotten into the world, right after he was trying to like make up with Daniella, is he mentioned to her, why he chose not to go to why he chose not to like go to the lab in San Francisco. And he said, do you remember what I told you when that happened? And he said that he'd rather have memories of her at the end of his life than memories of a sterile lab. I'm pretty sure that Science Jason said that. But in this world, in Science Jason's world, where that choice happened, where that break happened, he didn't tell her that. He went to San Francisco to be a scientist. So I'm not sure if that is implying that these Jasons are connected and have some shared memories that way, or if Science Jason was like watching Family Jason for a bit to learn some of this stuff, or if it was just a mess up, who knows? Because that is something that Science Jason didn't say. Maybe it was something that Science Jason was thinking of, but chose not to say because he wanted to pursue that. Maybe that's where this comes from. But I thought that was interesting that he would know that line, even though he never actually said that to Daniela. And he referenced it specifically to try to like gain her, to try to like make up to her after he stayed out at a bar super late while he was abducting himself. So that is season one, episode True Trip of a Lifetime. It is coming to Apple TV Plus on May 8th, 2024. I definitely think you should check it out. It is a good episode. It gives you some views of the two worlds and also has a crazy, crazy ending. So definitely watch it and let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. Let me know what I got right and wrong. I'd love to hear it. Oh, but please don't like say what happens in the books. I know this is based on a novel, so I don't want to know what happens in the future. I'm trying to go into all this blind, so please don't just drop like future things that happen in the books, just so that I can still be surprised, because this was a very surprise ending. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you.